Hello and welcome back, YouTube. I shouldn't be recording this much video because at this point I'm going to be so behind by the time I get this posted, because I'm so busy working at this point. I don't have any time to edit video, and if I was supposed to get a break tonight, I didn't get it. So, where do I even start with Domino's? I wish I understood more about the GPS tracking app and its quirks, because at one point I thought it wasn't tracking me anymore, and come to find out it was. And after getting my score really good, I knocked it way down with one, and it scores on more than just how well you're obeying the speed limit as well. It scores on there's some kind of mark for brakes and some kind of mark for turns. So I guess on one it felt I took a turn too fast, and I'm curious what it, how it goes about judging that. But yeah, the last one I dropped off was over in the Garfield neighborhood at about Portland and 13th Street. The woman that came out to get the pizza was gorgeous from what I could see. It was a little dark out. Speaking of gorgeous, Samantha is extremely distracting. Car to my right pulled out so forward, I thought maybe I was sitting in the wrong spot, but no, I was actually in the right spot, and now I'm partially in the crosswalk, because the car on my right is completely in the crosswalk. The lines are getting really hard to see in this intersection. And it's like faded, almost gone white lines on white cement. So. But yeah, that's City of Phoenix for you. God, sometimes this car just doesn't accelerate. I think it's the transmission. Yeah, that's going to be, I think, a very expensive repair. But I don't know, I'm going to do what I can with it. I do worry that, as well as I think I did tonight, I do genuinely worry that my eyes are no longer good enough and my car is no longer good enough for this. I was a nighttime cab driver forever. Seemed like, better part of 19 years spent driving a cab at night, and I used to just work ludicrous hours. And it wasn't because I had to, it's just because I just loved doing it. Once I stopped doing it, I found myself sometimes when I had a vehicle just driving aimlessly at night, because that was what I did. And some nights, of course, I'd just be running my ass off from fair to fair to fair to fair, and then some nights were kind of slow, and I just wander around in my cab, ready for a call, ready to chase a call, just sort of wandering in sort of places where people would flag me down, and sometimes just looking to see what was up. I'm feeling a little guilty because I told Adam I would swing by, he had responded to one of my comments on his channel. I told him I would swing by Yoshi's after I got off, but the reality is, and I don't know why I said I would do it, I should have told him I'd hit him up for a couple of days. I just can't believe we didn't exchange numbers. I just figured we'd deal with that stuff in the morning. kind of deconstruct my day if you watch my vlogs. It's just some days I record so much. Whereas, you'll have a handful of shorts and little 2-minute videos here and there. And who knows what the hell it's doing, and how much of that is legit. But, don't get me wrong. I think Adam is a very genuine person, and people that say things about him, I'm there to call him out when it's, when it's some stuff, but then some stuff, one thing he's definitely not on, and that's drugs or alcohol. But anyway, yeah, that's not happening. I am so fatigued and tired right now. I was scheduled till 1, so she said that she just puts that, by she I mean Samantha. She is so petite and cute. It's just completely distracting, and has an amazing attitude. And I can only imagine how young she is, but anyway, she said that she puts in the schedule of close until 1, just to make it clear that even though we close at midnight, that the drivers most likely aren't going to leave at midnight, which tonight I actually did. In fact, she had me clock out a little bit before midnight, and then after I was clocked out, in fact, after I was out the door, an order came in. Keep in mind, technology has moved a long way since when I last worked at Domino's in 1999. At that time, we answered all our own phone calls. We were a separate unit. If somebody called outside our delivery area, we had a list of numbers, and we would give them the phone number to call for the store that was where they were, that we thought would be where they were. That was actually something I was really good at, because a lot of people would just be like, whereas I'd ask them their address, and for the most part, you give me an address, and I can tell you the major cross streets. They don't even have to tell me. I just, and I would look at the addresses of the stores, and generally be able to look at the one that, and just pick out which one would be the closest to them. Now, sometimes the delivery area, the boundaries are kind of odd, so it might not necessarily be the one they were at, but anyway, that's not how it is now. Now there's an actual phone bank call center. Now, apparently we do answer some of our own calls, and I think I saw one guy, his name was Austin, do that. But generally speaking, run kind of a shoestring staff, and if everybody's busy driving and making pizza, then the calls, they just ring a couple times in the store, and then they'll roll over to the call center, and they come to us via computer. And then, of course, there's people ordering online and ordering through the app, and that just goes directly via computer. In fact, I remember when Domino's first rolled out being able to order online, and my wife and I, because this was when we were married when that happened, shortly after we got the house in Tucson, and we just thought that was just so remarkably convenient to be able to open. There's no such thing as smartphone apps. There's no such thing as smartphones yet, but we just thought it was amazing to be able to just open up a browser window and just click, 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 and not have to worry about payment. Just everything automatic, and pizza shows up, and it would estimate. Well, now it's on a whole nother level. Now people can actually track me as I'm driving towards their place, and of course they can see when I'm making mistakes. And oh yeah, I made some mistakes tonight. Anyway, I would love to talk more about it, but I'm absolutely exhausted. As I tried to explain earlier, I fell asleep right after I got home from home from work, which granted I had that whole hour of, oh shit, my car won't start because I killed the battery, and in 116 degree heat. So of course I was just absolutely just wiped between stress and heat and walking around. I was just exhausted by the time I got home, and I'm trying to think what time I woke up. I want to say probably about 10 p.m. ish. And then I couldn't get back to sleep. When I finally got to sleep, it was probably maybe 2 hours, maybe less, before I had to wake up. So I can't say I'm running on 2 hours sleep, because I had, a few hours of sleep between when I got home, not planning on going to sleep, and when I woke up and realized, wow, it's kind of well into the nighttime. That's so much for getting my smartphone fixed. On the bright side, my iPhone worked great tonight, so at least that was a positive. Oh man, I stole the clipboard. That's all right. I'm in tomorrow night. I'm gonna go ahead and text Samantha and let her know. But it feels weird putting in the sunshade, but even as early as I roll out, I don't know what the forecast is tomorrow, but I'm sure it's something just outlandishly hellish. So I better put the sunshade in. I feel bad not showing up over to Yoshi's to help Adam with the Wonolo app, but given his track record with working, and how difficult it is sometimes for me to get to offer gigs on Wonolo with a car, I do wonder how well it would work out for him. Although that last gig that I did through Wonolo, the housekeeping over at Homewood Suites, that would be real easy for him to get to. I mean, I could have drove to it, and I chose to drive the light rail because I looked at where it was and was like, damn, it's right across the street from the last station. That's just too convenient to not take the light rail. As far as him getting to HelloFresh, it's hard to say. I question if he could tough out a shift in the cold at HelloFresh. I'm not even sure if he has the kind of clothing needed to do that job, to be honest. And obviously, Grocery Depot might be a rough one for him too. It's not really far from the light rail, but I don't know. He could maybe pull it off. Take light rail to Country Club. That gig had often come. In fact, I think it offered it for me for tomorrow night, Thursday night, and Friday night. The manager's probably wondering why I'm not coming in, because he was kind of asking me to, apply for a full-time job there. And I'm just like, yeah, not taking that low-paying full-time job. As far as what I made tonight, I felt like I made really good tips, although the craziest thing happened. So I'm not sure exactly how the paperwork works. And Samantha just got the gig as general manager of that store. So a lot of the stuff is kind of new to her. And so basically I collect any cash, orders. I collect the cash and have to be able to give the change. Apparently at one time they used to give drivers kind of like I forget what the heck you would call it, but sort of a bank, some money to start with so they can make change. But apparently there have been issues with that, so they don't do it anymore. And all it takes is a few people abusing stuff, and then suddenly it's an inconvenience for everybody else. But I told her at one point, it's like when I got the first one I was collecting cash for, that it's like, I said I didn't have any cash at all when I came in. The only cash I have is the tips that I bought. And then I pulled it out and I had like a $5 bill and several ones. And she's like, oh, you should be fine. And I ended up not making change on that one anyway. That one was super sketchy and weird. When I came in and told them all the story about it, and I said, yeah, he met me at the car. It's like, oh, this sounds bad already. I'm like, no, I was kind of relieved the guy met me at his car, because his house would have been, it was in an area where the houses were kind of recessed from the street and hidden by giant bushes, and yeah, I'd had a bit of a time trying to find the house, so it helped that he was standing on the side of the street kind of waving at me. But he came up to the passenger door, and I rolled down the window. In fact, I think I popped open the door, but I'm kind of awkwardly trying to pull the pizza out of the bag to the right, and then I got the receipt to see how much I had to ask him for it. I think it was like $20.60. And he's like, okay, this is $10. And he hands me this crumpled up wad of money. And maybe about $4 or $5 were kind of smooth. And then a bunch of them were just like wadded into like just crumpled. I'm just going to look at that like, really? He hands it to me like that. So like, I try to never give any kind of cashier cash like that. That's just seems nuts to me, but that's how he gives it to me. So I'm trying to kind of straighten it out and count it. But he told me it was 10, so I took him at his word. Well, when I got to the store, I come to find out it was 11. But anyway, then he starts just handing me like hands full of quarters. And at one point he goes, well, is that enough? I said, oh God, I hope so. And I'm thinking to myself at this point that I don't even care. Like, he can short me, it looks like it's probably close to enough. And I don't care if he shorts me $3, $4. Like, I just want to be done with this. I'll pull it out of my pocket to make it even. Like, damned if I'm sitting here and counting all of that change in my car, which it's after dark and my dome light is not that bright. I said I wasn't going to talk much about what happened, and here I am just running my mouth. I need to go to bed. 7 a.m. is going to come extremely early. Anyway, thanks for coming with on the drive, and so much more to say about Domino's, but I don't have time for it. Oh, the most notable thing, though. So when she cashes me out at the end of the night, and, all other drivers, there will be credit card tips, which generally speaking get paid out daily, minus credit card tips, minus whatever cash that I owe for deliveries that I collected the payment for. And so it was something like $55 or maybe, I think it was $55. So it was a sizable amount of money. Not like a huge amount of money, but a sizable amount of money. And she hands it to me, and I'm on my way out the door. I'm almost to my car. Comes from, and Austin comes around, hey, she needs that money back. I'm like, wait, what? And apparently there's something that she does, and everything's on computer now. When I did fast food management, like, nothing was on computer. Everything was done on paper, pen and paper and calculator. But yeah, it's all on computers. And apparently she hit the wrong thing and wasn't able to undo it, where she sent that money to be put on my paycheck. I don't even know when I get my paycheck. I need the money now. But, it is what it is. Obviously I gave her the money back, but it was like, oh, I could really use that cash right now. I've got some cash in my pocket, although a lot of it is just like $13 worth of quarters and some other small change, and a pin, like a little clip-on pin with a coin embedded in it. Like, that got the whole staff laughing. It's like, what the hell is that? I'm like, I don't know. It looks like a clip-on earring or something with a coin in it. It's like, is it real? It's like, well, it's really something. It's like, it's a currency. I don't know. I'll keep it because I'm completely amused by it. I'll clip it on something. But that plus the other tips that I collected, and I feel like that plus my base wage, which I think is just Arizona minimum wage, which is $13.85 an hour, comes up to probably a lot more than I'm making an hour down moving cars. I do love that job, moving cars. I got a feeling that my job at MLS is going to be one of those kind of jobs that I should really be quitting and looking for a better job, and I'm probably just going to stay there because I like it as long as I can make ends meet doing it. It's really fun driving new cars around, and I could go on at length about that, but again, I really need to get inside and get to sleep. But definitely my favorite car to drive around are those Polestars. I don't enjoy driving the Teslas as much as I thought I would. There's so much weird shit. At one point, I was trying to get music to come up on a Tesla, and I got karaoke on the damn screen. That was bizarre. And of course, at one point, it pops up, click here, don't do this while you're driving. Click here to say you're a passenger. Click. Yeah. Oh my God! I was driving this Tesla with its navigation on. Like, I didn't turn it on. I just started the car, and suddenly it's giving me directions and telling me what to do, and I don't even know how to turn it off. And I'm just like, okay, this is interesting. It thinks I'm on a road. Meanwhile, I'm on the third floor of the parking garage, the giant parking garage that is the Sky Harbor Rental Car Center. And it thinks it's calling the thing I'm on Sky Harbor Drive. I'm like, okay, I guess it's dubbed this driveway here, something. Anyway, at one point, and I'm driving basically around the outside perimeter of this giant parking garage, which is a thoroughfare. I mean, there's quite a bit of traffic on that because that's the way everybody who rents a car heads out. Like, they get their rental car and everybody goes out that way. And then you've got all the traffic of, all the employees moving stuff around. There's a lot of moving cars around. It's not just me and a couple other guys, like the me and the 5 other guys I've described. Those are all, that's just the maintenance crew. There's a whole bunch of other people moving vehicles around, and a bunch of them work directly for Hertz, and a bunch of them work for MLS. And I couldn't even begin to explain everything that's going on, but suffice it to say, there's quite a bit of traffic on this kind of path, roadway, whatever you want to call it, around the perimeter. But Tesla thinks it's the road, and as it bends, it's telling me, curve to the right on blah blah blah. Anyway, when I get to the point where I can look out to the left and I can see the sign of the original Food City, which says something else now, and I can see where Mojave Road is. And I remember when Mojave Road used to, cut across where the car rental center is now and go all the way to 24th Street. That was my dad's favorite route to take to work, working at the Air National Guard base at Sky Harbor. That was his way of avoiding traffic, was just coming across on Mojave. And it really impressed me as a kid, like just what torn down shacks all those houses were compared to how, what our houses were like. And it's like, ooh, I think this is really poor people or something. But because that area where the rental car center is, and the whole Sky Harbor, the whole Sky Harbor Circle and all of that stuff around there, much of which is still empty, that used to be extreme ghetto between 24th Street and 16th Street, south of the railroad tracks, and between there and I-10, and all that got eliminated. Here come my neighbors. I'm going to head in. Anyway, thanks for watching.